G'day everyone, my name is Zach, and welcome back to this week's Hobby Highlights and Headlines. This week, I have done a little bit of hobbying. For the first time in a little while, I actually got a chance to do some hobbying of my own. For those that don't know, a couple weeks ago, I showcased a few models from Heroes Infinite, and I've managed to paint up 3 of them, just got a couple of base coats and things on. And I gotta say, so far I'm really enjoying the process. They're very, very tiny models compared to what I usually paint. And it's kind of fun to paint something that isn't a giant dude in space armor. I have genuinely enjoyed painting these girls, and I definitely want to see how far I can take them. It's probably going to be a project that I work on for a little while because I really want to make them shine. I want to challenge myself because I know that I can paint better, but I never do because I'm kind of rushed for time, especially with the videos. Usually takes me about a week to get them out, so I wanna really take my time on these, and since it's in my own personal time, there's no video time limit to get it over and done with. So I'm super excited to see what I do with those guys. Next up, I also painted a deep Shroud Terminator. Last week's hobby hero, Mr. Sly himself, I ended up testing out his paint scheme on a deep Shroud Terminator, and I've got to admit, I'm a bit of a fan. It's not particularly my style because it's kind of the traditional Games Workshop-y, like base coat, layer, shade, that sort of thing. But it was a fun little challenge, and I didn't go like full ballsack with it and do everything that I could, but I feel like I brought it to a level that kind of showcases the way that he does his. And yeah, I really enjoyed it, and it fits perfectly into my little team. I kind of use him as like a HQ, almost like the captain, because he is painted differently. But overall, had such a blast doing that. It's really fun to do little painting challenges and things every now and again, just to kind of test your skills out and then sort of expand your portfolio, I'd say. I did also get very, very lucky, and I managed to receive some free Necrons from a guy online. I was perusing Facebook Marketplace the other day, and it just so happened to come upon a post about a guy more or less just giving away some Necrons. He had, I think they were Scorptech Destroyers, and I sent him a message just because, like, I've always wanted to start a Necron army, and I figured this would be the perfect chance. And originally I was like, hey, like, I'll paint them up and I'll send them back to you. And he goes, nah, I literally do not want them whatsoever. I was like, oh, all right, like, I'll take them. And the dude sent a Necron Overlord in with it as well. It's like the guy with, like, the big cannon and everything. It's like the one from, what was it, Warhammer Tacticus? The doo-doos in that. And my God, I'm so excited, like, so genuinely excited to paint these guys up. And I'm thinking of doing not the traditional silver. Like, I want my Necron army to be like chef's kiss, immaculate paint jobs on basically everything in the army. And I don't know what color scheme I want to go for, because I am slightly leaning towards the turquoise colors, but I do love painting red because I have a whole Khorne army, and I've got a Ultramarine army as well, so I kind of do paint blue. But I never paint that sort of turquoisey spectrum. So I'm very tempted to do that because I just love blues, and especially that, like, sky blue and bringing it right up to the brightest heart. Something about it really, really tickles my brain. I love it. Now, I did also make a little bit of progress on the Chaos Army. Nothing that won't be in a video as of right now. I don't want to paint anything off camera. I do want this project to be 100% on camera and in person. But I did quickly test print some bases for the models, and overall, I'm pretty happy with how they're going. They're not warping too much. If I really wanted to sort of stop the warping, I could reduce, I think it's increase the delay in the screen. I can't remember what the setting's called. But basically, to stop the warping, you can adjust one of the settings in the printer, and it makes it a little bit nicer. But for the most part, they're pretty good. And the bases that I designed myself have a little magnet insert in them, so if I really wanted to, put a magnet in there and then just slap them straight onto a magnetized movement tray, which I think is going to be pretty cool. So keep an eye out in the coming weeks. I will hopefully be doing a video on those guys. I don't necessarily have something planned exactly right now. I kind of have to do a bit of experimenting, and maybe the first couple of videos will be me getting the scheme down, or maybe even the first video, just getting the scheme down and making it look nice. But yeah, I'm pretty excited for that, and I think once the army is done and dusted, it is going to look incredible. Now, on to this week's headlines, and a surprise release from Warhammer. I do understand that I talk about a lot of Warhammer news. It's kind of the thing that excites me the most, and little did I know that Games Workshop would be dropping the sickest Axolotl you have ever seen. They have just been blasting out Kroot releases over the past few weeks, and they released what I can only describe as the Kroot Battle Axolotl, which it's a very unique model, and some might say dumb, but I love it. I just think it's so unique and just such a flavor, like, they're really deep diving into like the weird alien races that 40k has, and it just kind of captures that perfectly, especially the one that they've painted in sort of like the what do you call it, the dark orangey and sort of bluey black colors. I absolutely love it. You got the guy on the top of the spear. It really seems to capture the essence of what the Kroot are, and the fact that they are just kind of a ramshackle race who, off the top of my head, they evolve very quickly to adjust to their environment, so it makes sense that they can use whatever mount or random things are around them. I just think that's really neat. Super excited to see that. I would hate to see the price on these guys. Being a cavalry choice, and from the looks of it, seems to be a single model on the base. Would be kind of cool to see them in a pack of 3 or 5. Because from the looks of it, they look relatively big. I would assume it's like an 80 mil base, maybe like an 80 mil oval. And yeah, I really like it, and I want to see the price before I start doing anything with it. Because I'm so tempted, not even to start a Kroot army, just to buy a couple of the models and paint them up, because they just look like such a fun and unique experience. And in other Warhammer news, in a couple of weeks, it is the Warhammer World Store anniversary, which is super, super exciting because it means that we will be getting a bunch of new releases, and they've already previewed one of them, which is just this immaculate goose. Like, Warhammer, like I said in, I can't remember which video, I think it was last week's video, Warhammer is really just doubling down on the random animals that they include in packs, and I'm all for it. I'm more than happy to buy a kit for a single bit. If it's the silly goose himself, I absolutely love that. Yeah, I'm super excited to see what kind of reveals and things that they do. I can only assume that they're going to be teasing or releasing a bunch of stuff for a heap of different factions, and maybe, just maybe, they'll have a really cool store anniversary model. Because, I mean, it's Warhammer World. There's no way that they're not going to do, like, an exclusive Warhammer World miniature. And I hope if they do, that it is something well worth the, what I assume will be a $150 price tag. Because I doubt they'll just give it to you straight up. You'll probably have to buy, like, a bunch of stuff and then get it on the side. Kind of like that thing that they did with the Chaplain a couple of years ago, which was very interesting. Now, as for the next week's releases, we are finally getting the Dark Angels reinforcements. And I haven't covered these in a video, but like, I am a massive Dark Angels fan. For those who don't actually know, I don't know if I have any photos. I probably do not. But my original Space Marine army were Dark Angels. Back in the day, I bought a Dark Vengeance box set, and I painted every single thing up as Dark Angels. Even did like the Deathwing Terminators. They look terrible. Like, I mean, for the time, they look decently painted, but for the most part, they look absolutely atrocious. And I did paint up that really cool librarian a couple weeks ago, which might be a good excuse to kit bash some Deathwing Terminators using the Leviathan kits? Question mark? Yeah, I would really like to test out a couple of things and maybe start a little kind of auxiliary force for my Space Marines of Dark Angels. As for the new Dark Angel releases, we have Asmodai, Master of Repentance, and I really like his model. I'm not sure I'm a fan of the massive smoke plumes near him. It kind of looks a little weird and seems to just kind of take away from the modeling choices that I would have. But I guess you could always just cut them off and then wouldn't have to worry about that. Next up we have Belial. I can't remember if it's Belial or Belial. The Grand Master of the Deathwing, which, fantastic model. They've just, chef's kiss, done him justice. I think everything about him is pretty much perfect. They even drilled the barrels, which, I don't know, just random critique. They never seem to do the barrels all the way. They only ever do, like, the small thing in the middle. They never make it, like, a big hole. It's not like the storm bolters are shooting at tiny bullets, like these massive rounds. So yeah, just a random little thing I always notice when they drill their barrels. You have the Inner Circle Companions, which again, pretty cool models. I mean, they're just fancy Dark Angels that probably definitely aren't Chaos. So yeah, I don't mind the models. They look kind of cool. Not much for the banners. but the Deathwing Knights. If you aren't a fan of Deathwing Knights, there is something wrong. If you love Terminators, you've got to love these guys. They're basically like regular Terminators in even bigger armor. Just something about them is so imposing and so cool, and I freaking love it. I definitely will be picking up a box of these, which I'm pretty sure is just the regular Space Marine Terminator kit with an upgrade pack in it. You get that little dude as well, little Swordmaster guy. So yeah, I'll probably end up painting up a little squad of these guys just because I think they're really neat. Next week, we also get the Legion Astartes Siegebreaker console, which I really like it. I think it's a fun opportunity to do some really cool modeling and like OSL effects, because he's got that big screen in front of him, and I do just like him in general. Like, they're definitely going a lot more complicated with the Horus Heresy sculpts now, which I'm not that I don't like it. I would like to have a little bit more freedom, but I guess it does kind of lend itself to making the model look a bit more fancy, and you could probably just block in the colors and paint them very quickly and easily, and then the model would still look amazing. Yeah, I'm kind of keen to get this model. I really want to test out some nice OSL effects on it. For those who don't know, I run a small 3D printing business called Printed, in which this channel has actually been rebranded as of a couple of months ago too. And call me a shill or whatever you will, but I love what I do. And I am fortunate enough to say that I've had a really good couple of weeks, to the point that I have bought a new printer. I went ahead and bought a brand new Elegoo Saturn 3 Ultra, which will be the first time, well, technically not the first time. I bought two Photon Monos back in the day, like the little Anycubic ones. But these two will be kind of the backbone of my business, because I have one right now, which is running NFEP, and I'm really hoping that since I know how the printer works and everything now, I'll have a couple of less issues when I set the new one up, because I'm starting to get a bunch of orders and I can't really keep up. It's getting pretty crazy, but it is also a very nice change because my little business kind of keeps us up and running. We live in the city, which definitely isn't cheap, and it's very nice to be able to have something to fall back on and kind of support us when we need it. I appreciate everyone who buys models from the shop, and yeah, just want to say thank you all for supporting me and my little side hustle. I do actually work at another job. I work at a grocery store full time and kind of do it on the side, and it's really fun to connect people with very unique and fun sculpts of models, especially the Maid Marines that I have. Basically one of my most popular models, and I do want to do a video on them. I freaking love the idea of Maid Space Marines, and it's just so funny to me. And I've got a bunch of different squads and everything that I could make up, and a few different options. And as they slowly get produced, I could kind of make a slow build army. But yeah, I definitely would like to try that. So if you guys do want to check out the shop for any reason and want to grab some models for yourself, I'll leave a link down in the description down below to our Etsy shop. And yeah, you can support the channel that way, or even just have a browse and then see what I've got on there. Now, on that note as well, since I only do resin printing for my business, and I wouldn't mind getting into FDM, and only thing that scares me is first and foremost the price. FDM printers are not cheap, and people will say yes, there are cheap options, but I don't want a cheap option because I know how much of a pain in the ass they are. I want a Bamboo Lab something because they are such cool printers. Basically every single person online rants and raves about them, and I really want to try one for myself, and I wouldn't mind taking the jump and buying one. Just so that I could get into a few different things, because my biggest limiting factor right now is both volume on my resin stuff, but also the ability to print terrain. I can't do that affordably on a resin printer. It would cost you hundreds of dollars for a piece of terrain that on an FDM printer is probably going to cost like $50. So I really want to get into FDM printing. And if there's anyone at home that uses a Bamboo Lab printer or another brand's FDM printers, let me know what your experience is down below, because I really want to get into it, but I'm not quite sure where to start, because last time I got into FDM printing, it was a completely different kettle of fish, and I kind of hated it for the most part. But also, if Bamboo Lab, if you're watching this video for whatever reason, want to send me a printer for review purposes, I mean, like, I wouldn't say no. I'll put it through the ringer and give it a good test in these harsh Australian environments. So hook me up if you guys are so inclined. Now to this week's hobby hero, and I want to shout out Jay from Eons of Battle, one of the guys that I've been watching for so long. And I just want to say, so I can't remember how long I've been watching Eons of Battle. It's far longer than I thought I have been, because I think he recently released like episode like 190 or something. of like some stupid number of models and memories. And I was like, have I seriously been watching this long? I think when I subscribed to him, it was back in the day when he had like maybe 20,000 subscribers. And I used to be such a snob on YouTube. I was like, you know what? I just, I'll only sub to someone who's got like a few 100,000 followers or that, because like they're just consistent videos. And I found it really hard. I was such a snob back in the day when I was younger. But I was like, I'll take a chance on this guy. He seems pretty cool. And thank God I did, because he genuinely produces so much entertaining content. And I just love everything that he does. And I see a big part of myself in him. Like, whenever I watch any of his videos, I just sort of think like, that just feels like me in some of them, or like I can relate to so much to his experiences and things. And it's really nice to see somebody, not less professional, but more kind of feels like a guy who's just bringing you along with his hobby. It's really fun, and I genuinely love his format and everything that he does. It's so entertaining for me. So he is my hobby hero for this week, and I love the way he paints. He paints really efficiently, really nicely, and does so many different game systems and makes them into videos in a way that's super entertaining and kind of fulfilling, because you learn so much stuff from it. So yeah, I just want to give a massive shout out to him this week, and he's kind of inspired me to do quite a lot of different things on this channel. And I really appreciate the content that he puts out, and would hopefully maybe one day I'll see him commenting on one of these videos. The dream to see a massive YouTuber commenting on one of your videos is definitely something I look forward to. Yes. As for that, that'll be our last thing for this video this week. Just want to say a huge shout out to everyone who has joined the community in past weeks. I feel like I say this legitimately every single video, but I'm blown away. We just smashed 600 subscribers, and the channel isn't growing at an insane amount that I can't even keep up at this point. So thank you to everyone who has subscribed. And if you aren't subscribed, you're probably part of the 96% that aren't. So you should definitely hit that bell icon if you want to see more videos like this, or the weekly hobby content that I do, because I do 2 videos a week and really enjoy what I do. So make sure to hit that subscribe button to join the community. And if you indeed enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like on it to show your support, and let the YouTube algorithm know that this is good stuff. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a great night, and until next time, happy hobbying. Bye.